All right, let's get right into it. WhatsApp just launched something that tackles one of the most awkward parts of our digital lives. Joining a group chat way too late. But how they pulled it off without compromising their whole privacy promise? Well, that's a really fascinating story about solving a very tricky crypto puzzle.
Oh, we've all been there, right? You get added to a group for a surprise party or some new project, and you open it up to find absolutely nothing. Just that little message, you joined the group. You have no clue what's going on, what the inside jokes are, you're totally flying blind.
But here's the wild part. That blank screen wasn't some mistake or a feature they just forgot to build. Nope. It was completely intentional. It was the direct result of a super powerful security principle they built right into the core of their encryption. It was, quite literally, the price you had to pay for privacy.
So to really get why WhatsApp's new solution is so brilliant, we first have to understand the original problem. And that problem has a pretty cool name: forward secrecy. This is the cryptographic headache that made catching up on old messages completely impossible. Until now, that is.
So what exactly is forward secrecy? Well, think of it as a guarantee. It means that even if some hacker managed to steal the keys that unlock your messages today, they still couldn't use them to go back in time and read the messages you sent yesterday. Every single message basically gets its own unique key that's destroyed right after it's used. The easiest way to picture this is like something straight out of a spy movie, Every message you send comes with a key that self-destructs the moment it's used. Now, for security, this is amazing. It means there's no master key lying around that could unlock your entire chat history. But it's also what created our blank slate problem. If all the old keys are destroyed, how on earth could a new person read old messages? Simple. They couldn't. The keys were already gone. And this whole system is built on some really heavy-duty tech. You've got things like the double ratchet algorithm, which is constantly changing the locks, and sender keys, which figure out how to do this for big groups. Together, they built this incredible fortress of privacy. But it was a fortress that, by design, could never share its past. So the big question is, how did WhatsApp get around this? They couldn't just weaken their encryption. That would be a disaster. So they had to come up with a totally new, really clever way to share that chat history, a workaround that keeps the privacy fortress intact while finally giving us the context we've all been missing.
And this, right here, is the multi-billion-dollar question. If you can't save the old keys for security reasons, and you absolutely cannot let Meta servers see the messages, then how do you magically get that history onto a new person's phone? And the answer is just beautiful in its simplicity. They just went around the server. The history isn't pulled from some giant meta database in the cloud. Instead, it's shared directly from the phone of someone who's already in the group. It's a true peer-to-peer solution.
Let's use an analogy. Imagine your chat history is like a super private journal. With this new feature, the person who adds you to the group is basically taking the last few pages, photocopying them, and handing them straight to you. The courier in this whole exchange, that's WhatsApp servers, is just delivering a sealed envelope. They have absolutely no way of knowing what's written inside.
Okay, so let's get into the weeds just a little bit, because what your phone does in a fraction of a second is actually pretty amazing. It's all part of what they call the re-encryption workflow.
So here's how it works. First, the phone of the person adding you grabs the actual readable text of the last few messages from its own local secure storage. Step 2, it creates a brand new private encrypted tunnel directly to your phone. 3, it takes those old messages and locks them up again, but this time with a new key made just for you. And finally, it hands that newly locked box over to the server to deliver it.
And this is the most important part to remember. All the smart stuff, finding the messages, packaging them up, re-encrypting them, it all happens on another user's phone. WhatsApp servers are just the mail carrier. They get handed a locked box, and they deliver that locked box. They never, ever have the key.
And best of all, you are in complete control. The group admin can just turn the feature off for everyone if they want. The person sharing gets to choose how much history to send. And this is so important, it's not some secret, sneaky process. The whole group gets a little notification that history was shared, and it even looks different in the chat. Total transparency.
Now, this feature didn't just appear out of nowhere. It's actually a really big move in what you could call the messaging wars. So let's take a look at how this new approach stacks up against some of the other big players. So when you put WhatsApp side by side with Telegram, the difference in philosophy is it's huge. Telegram is all about convenience. You get your entire chat history forever stored in their cloud. The trade-off? The company can, technically, access that history.
WhatsApp chose the much harder technical path, giving you only a little bit of recent history, but in a way that is mathematically impossible for them to ever read.
And then you've got iMessage. Now both use top-notch end-to-end encryption. That's great. But Apple still hasn't solved this group history problem. You join an iMessage group late, you still get that blank screen. So by fixing this huge annoyance, WhatsApp now has a real advantage. Just as secure, but a much, much better experience.
But of course, anytime a company like Meta touches our messages, the big question of trust pops up. Is this feature just some kind of sneaky backdoor for them to read our chats?
So let's just face that question head on. You know, with all the scrutiny on big tech companies these days, it is a totally fair question to ask. Could this be a trick?
Well, when you look at how it works, this feature is the literal opposite of a backdoor. A real backdoor would be controlled by the server. It would happen automatically in secret. This feature is controlled by you, the user. It's a manual process that you trigger, and it's completely visible to everyone in the chat. It's designed to be seen, not hidden.
And here's the final nail in that coffin, the logical proof. Think about it. If Meta secretly had a giant server with copies of all our messages, why would they build this incredibly complicated device-to-device system? They wouldn't need to. They'd just send the history from their server. The way this feature is built is maybe the strongest evidence we have that they don't have a central archive of our chats.
So at the end of the day, what WhatsApp has pulled off here is pretty incredible. It's a balancing act. They've found a way to take the cold, hard, rigid rules of cryptography and bend them just enough to serve the messy, real-world needs of how we actually talk to each other, and they did it without breaking their promise of privacy.
And that kind of leaves us with a bigger question to chew on. In this case, WhatsApp chose hardcore privacy over ultimate convenience. And as more and more of our lives, our memories, our relationships live inside these chat apps, it forces all of us to ask, what trade-offs are we okay with? What's the right price to pay for convenience?